Welcome to this explainer. You know that feeling when you flip a page and just see a massive, unbroken wall of text? Your eyes instantly glaze over. It's completely daunting. Well, if you've ever felt that way, you are in exactly the right place. Today we're conquering Chapter 10 of our source material, which is appropriately titled Longer Passages. We're going to take that scary block of text and turn it into a totally manageable, completely solvable puzzle.
Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to think of this setup like a detective's masterboard. To conquer any text, no matter how long, you really just need a grand unified theory of reading. And it comes down to collecting two main pieces of evidence. First up, context clues. They help you figure out what unknown words actually mean. Second, analogies. These decode hidden relationships, showing you what words do. You need both to crack the case. It literally is that simple. You're the detective, and the text is just a trail of clues waiting to be pieced together.
So, here's our agenda. We are literally chunking this session down into manageable bites. 1. The unified theory of reading. 2. Conquering the long passage. 3. Decoding Greek mythology. 4. Navigating scientific texts. And finally, number 5. Achieving reading mastery.
Section 1. The Unified Theory of Reading. Let's get right into it.
And this brilliantly illustrates how we're going to dissect the practice text from Chapter 10. Imagine being dropped into a test without a dictionary. How do you even survive? Well, you look at the words surrounding the word you don't know. A synonym, an antonym, maybe a phrase set off by commas. Those are your context clues. They decode the unknown. Analogies, on the flip side, are when you compare two totally unrelated things to find a similarity. Combine them, and you basically got your magnifying glass and fingerprint kit. Case closed.
Moving on to Section 2. Conquering the long passage. When you see a huge essay staring back at you, cognitive overload is a very real threat. But here is the physical game plan to beat it. Step 1. Just relax. You already have the tools. Step 2. Read in small chunks. Seriously, do not try to swallow the ocean here. Read a paragraph, maybe even just 2 sentences, and then stop. Step 3. Take notes or make a tiny outline as you go. By actively marking up the text, you're taking the heavy lifting off your short-term memory and putting it right onto the paper. Digest it in bites, and the whole thing goes down easy.
Section 3. Decoding Greek mythology. Let's move to a real example and see how this builds in practice. Listen to this excerpt. The lives of the ancient Greeks revolved around Eris, a concept by which they defined the universe. They believed that the world existed in a condition of opposites. See what we did there? We just pulled 2 sentences out of a massive Chapter 10 paragraph. Isolating the main idea like this keeps your brain from getting overwhelmed. Now, look closely at the vocabulary in context. The passage throws this totally foreign word at us, Eris. But right there, literally in the same sentence, tucked behind a comma, the author just hands us the definition. Eris is a concept of opposites by which the ancient Greeks defined the universe. No dictionary needed, right? The clues did all the work. Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is how the text divides the concept. It explains that good Eris happens when you have a balanced outlook and cope with your problems. But bad Eris is seen in violent conditions, usually when someone ignores a problem until it destroys them. By mapping the text into a simple mental comparison like this, you lock the information right into your memory.
So, what does this all mean for you? Let's put it to the test. This is a question straight out of the Chapter 10 workbook. Based on the chunks we just read, most specifically, bad Eris is defined in the passage as A, the violent conditions of life, or B, the problems man encounters. Think about the exact wording we just uncovered.
If you guessed A, you nailed it. It's explicitly stated in the text. We literally read that bad Eris was evident in the violent conditions of life. But why is B a trap? Well, this is exactly where test makers try to trick you. Option B, the problems man encounters, is way too broad. The text specifically said that problems belong to mankind, not to the universe's cosmic definition of Eris. You absolutely have to rely on the precise clues given, not just a general vibe.
All right, Section 4, Navigating Scientific Texts. Let's switch gears.
Let's grab a really dense, science-heavy chunk this time. Solar energy strikes the atmosphere and Earth's surface, warming the planet and creating what is known as the biosphere, the region of Earth capable of sustaining life. When you're dealing with science, this is exactly how you read it, clearly, deliberately, and taking a quick mental pause on big terms like biosphere. So the crucial point here is, scientific texts operate exactly like the mythology texts. They hand you the definition right next to the scary word. Biosphere is instantly defined as the region of Earth capable of sustaining life.
As the reader, you just extract that, jot it in your mental outline, and keep moving forward. Okay, next challenge for you. What is the best definition of the biosphere as it's used in the passage? When you hit a question like this, do not panic and go back to reread the entire intimidating paragraph. Just rely purely on that single targeted chunk we isolated.
Let's break it down. The correct answer is that part of the Earth and its atmosphere in which life can exist. Boom, it matches our context clue perfectly. But look at the incorrect distractor, the protective envelope formed by the atmosphere. That is a classic trap. The passage actually does say the atmosphere is a protective envelope in its opening sentence, but that defines the atmosphere, not the biosphere. This just proves why focused chunked reading is so incredibly powerful. If you take good notes, distractors literally can't touch you.
Let's dive into one more quick scientific chunk to really hammer this rhythm home. This one is on the immune system. The body's immune defenses do not normally attack tissues that carry a self-marker. Rather, immune cells and other body cells coexist peaceably in a state known as self-tolerance. Do you feel the rhythm now? We're just panning for gold, extracting the core concepts.
And the gold we pull out here is the definition of self-tolerance, which is the peaceful coexistence of immune and body cells without attacking tissues that carry a self-marker. Grasping this one isolated definition actually unlocks the rest of the paragraph, because the whole passage goes on to discuss how the immune system distinguishes self from non-self, but it all pivots on that single term. Now for the ultimate test. A passage like this will almost always ask, which of the following best expresses the main idea? This is where all those tiny chunks snap together to reveal the big picture. If you follow the chunks, the main idea is super obvious. The basic function of the immune system is to distinguish between self and non-self. How do we know this for sure? Because the entire first paragraph sets up the concept of self-tolerance. By carefully decoding those micro-level clues, you effortlessly uncover the macro-level theme. Master the chunks, and you conquer the entire passage.
Finally, Section 5, Achieving Reading Mastery. I really want to leave you with this absolutely brilliant, validating quote straight from our source material. The reading process is the same whether the text is long or short. I mean, let that sink in for a second. The length of a passage doesn't require some magic superpower. You already have all the tools. Finding context clues, spotting analogies, chunking information down, you just have to apply them systematically, paragraph by paragraph, exactly like we did today in Chapter 10. The introduction of our source text drops a great piece of advice. The absolute fastest way to get better at this is to just read more about stuff you actually care about. So, whether you're into deep-sea diving, astrophysics, ancient history, or science fiction, what fascinating subject are you going to choose for your next book? Grab something you absolutely love, put these reading strategies to work, and I promise you, no wall of text will ever intimidate you again.